In 1982, the world saw the premiere of the Jim Henson film The Dark Crystal. Arguably one of Jim Henson's most beloved projects, the film did not perform well in the box office or with critics. However, that did not dissuade Henson from spending decades developing the lore, mythos, and entire world of Thra, the Gelflings, and the Skeksis. The cult following that developed in the following years after the film became so strong that Netflix was persuaded to work alongside the Jim Henson Company in producing a prequel series to the 1982 film. Netflix announced this prequel series in 2015, and in order to maintain audience enthusiasm and build up anticipation for the series, Netflix decided to produce and publish a series of young adult novels to accompany the events of the series itself. The series opens up with Shadows of the Dark Crystal, in which we are introduced to Naya. Naya is the eldest daughter of the Drenching clan leader, and since the Gelfling are a matriarchal society, she is expected to take over when her mother passes. Naya begins the series having not yet sprouted her wings, which is the sign of maturity in Gelfling females. This serves to symbolize her apprehension and fears of insecurities, rather, at taking over the clan when her mother passes. Of course, this novel does set into motion the chain of events that will be depicted in the Netflix series. And over the course of the series, Naya grows, she develops her wings, and at the end of it, she does take over the Drenching clan. However, in Shadows of the Dark Crystal, it explores and gives more depth not only to the world of Thra that you see in the Netflix series, but the characters that didn't get quite as much focus in the series itself. Naya, for instance, is mentioned to be the sister of Gurjin, who is one of the more centralized characters in the series, but you only see Naya for a few minutes on screen. In the novel, we learn that she is a twin of Gurjin, which is a sacred thing in the world of Thra. We learn more about the clans, how the clans are set up, and also more about the various political tensions that exist between the clans in the world of Thra. The entire novel series is, of course, fantasy fiction. The world of the Dark Crystal itself borders on high fantasy, but these novels in particular are fantasy fiction. They're very self contained. You can pick any one of them up. You don't have to have seen the movie or the Netflix series to understand what's going on in them. They're very light, easy read. It's similar to the style of Harry Potter. It's not very dense, not very complex, and it's very easy to understand for any level of reader, really. The themes that are prominent in the series are as follows. Of course, you have the good versus evil with the overlord Skeksis and the Gelfling trying to save their planet. You have coming of age. On a previous slide, I had all four of the book covers for the series. Each one features a new Gelfling that is being thrust into this role of the hero of Thra trying to save their world, and each one of them must overcome personal differences and obstacles in order to achieve that goal and save their home planet. You also have, interestingly, the issue of racism. Most obviously, that takes place with the Skeksis thinking they're better than everyone else and they can just take and abuse the Gelfling in the world of Thra as they see fit. But also, that has now trickled down into the Gelfling clans themselves. You have the Vapra that think they are better than everyone else. You have the Stonewood that think they're braver than everyone else. Interestingly, in Shadows of the Dark Crystal, you see the Drenshen are thought of as the lowliest of the Gelfling clans. They live in a giant swamp. They're not known for their hygiene. They smell bad, and other Gelfling clans tend to kind of scoot them off to the side as these smelly backwoods swamp people. The Drenshen, of course, have their own prejudices against other clans. They don't think that necessarily the Sprighton, for instance, as Naya comes across a Sprighton boy, they don't think they're as hardy and tough as the Drenshen are. With that, you come into this area of diversity that is very much celebrated within the Dark Crystal. You have Naya, of course, as a strong female lead. You have her friend Kylan, who is from a warrior clan, and he's not so much of a warrior. He's kind of made fun of that, and that's how they become friends. You also have the aspects of sexuality as Naya approaches puberty. She starts developing crushes on characters, and this series is also famous for featuring not one, but two LGBTQ characters. Another prominent theme in the Dark Crystal series as a whole and in this novel series specifically is the aspect of climate change and environmentalism. As the Skeksis abuse Thra, aspects of it start to deteriorate, and those are aspects that the Gelfling do rely on in order to live, and so their whole world is kind of in danger there. Along with that, you could make the argument, and it has been made, that there's a theme of Indigenous rights throughout the entire series, and this comes across very strongly in Shadows of the Dark Crystal as Naya advocates for her rights for her people, kind of stepping into her role and coming into her own as the future leader of the Drenching clan. When hardcore fans think of the Dark Crystal and the Dark Crystal series, they often think of the artwork of Brian Froud. Here at the top, I have an example of his artwork from the film alongside one of his character sketches of a Gelfling, and that would be the Gelfling on the right. Corey Godby did the artwork for the covers and inside the novels as well, and I have his depiction of the Gelfling Naya to the left. As you can see, his sketch of Naya and a concept art from Brian Froud, they are very, very similar, and this was critical for a very important reason. The Dark Crystal, of course, as I mentioned, has a cult following, and in order to make sure that this series was a success, Netflix had to retain as much of the original aspects of the series as possible while creating a new work. Another reason Godby was chosen to do the art for the series was that he was able to bring the original fan base back in and bring them back to Thra, as it were. As you can see with the Shadows of the Dark Crystal original cover on the right here, it's very similar to an existing Dark Crystal comic book cover. The Gelfling are posed in the same way, the background has the same kind of sci fi feel to it, and you've got the same background characters within circles. And this was crucial to giving fans, existing fans, the feeling that they were continuing on in this world that they love. I picked Shadows of the Dark Crystal because I love the Dark Crystal and I will never pass up an opportunity to talk about it if I can. But also, the books are part of a series. And while that could be reflective of the television series, it got me thinking popular young adult novels are almost always part of a series. And it's not just one and two, it's a trilogy. Or, the Harry Potter series, which is 7 books, The Princess Diaries, which is a huge anthology there. And I wondered why exactly that is. And the answer actually came to me while I was researching for the Harry Potter review I did earlier this semester. J.K. Rowling caught on that it's easier to tell a meta narrative and convey themes like patience and endurance and resilience over the course of several episodes than it is to put it all in one chunk right in front of you. If a character goes through growth in a novel, and I'm talking extreme growth, that isn't as realistic as it is to watch them grow from season to season, year to year. Like J.K. Rowling did with Harry Potter, she had all of the characters go through different phases of growth over the series of several school years. The episodic nature of a series, it teaches readers patience as well, in a way where you end on a cliffhanger in one novel, you have to wait till the next one comes out to figure out what happens. And in doing so, in resolving things in the next book, you give readers a sense that things will be okay. And this helps them process in their own way that as they go through changes, as they go through growth, and things happen that are somewhat tumultuous in their own lives, just as the beloved characters from their novels eventually ended up okay. They just had to wait. Things ended up okay. They will too. And that's something that's very critical for young adults to have in their lives. Um, I personally have very much been attached to the Dark Crystal series for that very reason. And as such, I will definitely be including it for all of the themes that it has in my own classroom someday.